Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calls Trump supporters as uneducated and then says something unbelievable on live television. I'll show you that in a moment. Also, you have to wait and see what President Trump said about her and far-left Democrat AOC. This is one video that you can't miss out on, so stick around until the end.
Dots. Most people voted the wrong way because they were uneducated, and that's not to call them dumb. But literally, life sometimes is life, and you're trying to keep a roof over your head, keep food on the table, trying to make sure that your kids have what they need. And so you're not tuned in to the endless news cycle, or you don't know what the truth is. Y'all need to connect the dots. You need to tell them if they're losing out on their $6 a day in SNAP benefits, it's because of the people in power. If they're about to lose their Medicaid, which may be called something else in the state of Georgia, y'all need to learn the Georgia name for it and say you about to lose it because of them. If you've got somebody that's got a high risk pregnancy right now and they're saying, I got to leave the state because I may end up, because we saw what happened to that young lady that they decided there would just be an incubator. Like, you need to connect the dots and let them know that you don't have to live like this, that you can have better, but you have to decide that you are going to do your part to make sure that you are fighting for the life and the future that your children deserve. And that means showing up and being educated, not being played. I don't care what no celebrity nothing says. We all got cell phones. Y'all need to Google and figure it out for yourself. Don't.
Crockett is asking the American people to connect the dots. Well, that's what a majority of voters did, and it's exactly why Donald Trump is in the White House and not Kamala Harris, because they had the power for the last 4 years. Instead of making life easier for Americans, inflation went sky high, entitlement benefits were provided to people who illegally crossed our borders, and we had a president who couldn't even walk without tripping on himself. And that's not to say that the Republican Party is perfect, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out who was the better choice for the country. But Crockett isn't done making her party look bad. Listen to her literally say the quiet part out loud about possible lawfare against President Trump.
If the Democrats take over after the midterms next year, the House and or Senate, do you think they're going to push for investigations into Trump's family and the whole crypto acquisitions that he is getting?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, here we go.
Listen, so long as we end up taking the House, which I fully anticipate that we will do, and we are going to work hard to obviously help our Senate colleagues as well, then as someone who serves on the Oversight Committee and hopes to lead the Oversight Committee, I can guarantee you that we will do what we are supposed to do as constitutionally sworn members of the House, which means that we will conduct oversight. That means that we will investigate. We will look at whether or not this president himself has violated the emoluments clause as it relates to, say, such things as getting a $400 million plane from the Qataris. We also will make sure that we're looking into all these business deals that they have going on. I mean, think about it this way, Alex. They were going after Hunter because he sat on a board. Think about how much money they are raking in, whether we're talking about the next golf resort that they're setting up in Qatar, or whether we're talking about them leveling Gaza, as they've talked about, and talked about how it would be great beachfront property, whether we're talking about this crypto scam, the scam that people didn't even want to walk into and show their faces. Let me tell you, there is no shortage of things for us to dig into and determine whether or not there have been not only violations of the law, but definitely violations of our Constitution as a whole.
If, and that's a big if the Democrats take the House and or the Senate, they're already planning legal actions against President Trump. It's not like they learned anything the first time around. Speaking of which, the president had a message for Crockett and her colleague, AOC, both being seen as radical leaders of the left.
You know, AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time.
Do you agree that AOC and Crockett have low IQs, or are they doing just enough to rally their constituents against Trump? Make sure to sound off down in the comments, and if you appreciate being informed about what's going on around us, Make sure to subscribe and drop a like. It really helps small channels like this one grow. I appreciate all of the support. I'll talk to you in the next one.